All right, ready? Go ahead and get going.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Lynchburg. We are glad you are here. Whoever you are, whatever your beliefs, whatever your age, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we work together for justice, compassion, and peace, we also acknowledge with humility that our buildings sit on Monacan land. My name is Joan. I've been a member here for 5 years, and I serve on the Endowment and Connections Committees. If you are with us for the first time, we are glad you choose to be here this morning to participate in the service for this church community we love. If you would like to receive our monthly newsletter and Friday email updates, please fill out the visitor card found on our website under Sunday services, or fill out the yellow card in the back of the chair in front of you and place it in the offering basket during the offering. Today, after the service, we have an important annual meeting. Following the postlude, we'll have a 15-minute bio break and then return to the sanctuary so that we can have our meeting. Many thanks to our social time volunteers who might have to stay a bit longer. Parents should be aware that there will be no childcare for the annual meeting, so please feel free to build an activity bag, and those are located in Drysdale for your young one or young ones. Our responsive readings today, we will share. They are printed in the Friday e-news if you would like to participate. So if you're online, look in the Friday e-news. And today also is our Generosity Sunday, and we will be focusing our gifts and thoughts on Camp Kumbaya. So welcome back to Amy, Executive Director of Camp Kumbaya. Please take note of the announcements in the bulletin. And if you are on Zoom, you can find those in the Friday e-news. Coming up on June 4th, we will.
I think I may be typoed. I think it's actually Saturday the 3rd.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wrong announcement. Never mind. Ignore me.
Okay. So we're now certain of this. It is June 4th. We will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the flower communion ritual. That Sunday, we will be invited to bring a flower to share with someone else. During the service today, we will share responsive reading 728. So if you would like to do the Zoom participation, that's in the Friday e-news. And I believe for everyone else, is it printed in their bulletin?
You can get a
it's in the hymnal.
It's in the
Yes,
hymnal.
in the hymnal. 728. All right. So now I invite us all to release our worries about the world and our own lives as we enter into the service by taking some slow, calming breaths. All right, so now as we light the chalice, please join me in saying these words. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of life.
And I invite us to rise in body or spirit as we sing together hymn 118. You may not even need your hymnals with this one. Thank you, Joan. And I'd like to invite our young people to come forward. Are people shy this morning? Great. Cece, come on up here with us. Good morning. And this is Adriana. Audrey, please help me say that correctly because our names are important. Audriana. Okay. Oh, you've got a U in there. I didn't see that. Thank you for telling me about this. So what we're talking about in our service today is volunteer recognition. And it's about all the things that everybody does so our community can be what it is. Volunteering is really important, and our last song talked about that, because when we let the heart and the light in our heart shine, then we can help each other, and we want to help each other. So I'd like for us to think for a couple of minutes, because y'all are volunteers too, what are some of the ways that you help volunteer? And I'm going to start you off. Last week, some of you helped pass the basket during the offering. Yeah. And what are some other things you might do? Sometimes you help pick up things, or help do things in your classroom or the social hall. Sometimes you have really good ideas on Sunday morning. And sometimes you figure out stuff. Like I remember one Sunday that somebody figured out if you tap the base of that microphone, it sounds like a drum. I didn't know that. None of us knew that, but we figured it out. You did? Had you practiced that before? You are so smart. So what are some other things that y'all might do? Can you think of something?
Help animals.
Help animals?
Yeah.
I think that's really wonderful. Huh?
Pass out the Play-Doh. We did that last time.
You did, and thank y'all so much because the adults enjoyed playing. So there are lots of things we can do. One important thing that we do is when we learn to care for each other, then we can learn how to be kind to people out in the world, maybe our classmates or someone we see. Have y'all ever opened a door for somebody? Yeah.
Lots of times. I hold the door for people when we go into school.
That's a very nice thing. So there are lots of ways that we can let our light shine. And one important thing that we do is it's so wonderful when new people come. And so Adriana is here today, and it's wonderful to have you here because you help us learn things. So that's why it's so much fun, and y'all can be helpful helping Adriana. I'm sorry. No, thank you. It's really important. So please correct me every time I say it wrong because our names are important. My mouth just gets tangled up sometimes. So we all help each other. And it's because we know that we have a light inside of us that we need to share. So to remind us, I thought it would be nice for each of us to have these First Unitarian Universalist pens that have lights, because we all need to remember. Now, one thing you need to remember too is, see this little button right there? That turns the light on and it turns it off. So if you forget to turn it off, what happens?
It'll run out of battery.
That's right. And I'm not sure if we can replace that. So Cece, and since you're a helper this morning, I'll let you have one too. So as you get ready to go to your classes, let's make sure we don't run or stab ourselves or somebody else with the pen. So there's one thing that turns the light on and one thing that turns the pen on. So thank you for being volunteers. Yes, thank you for teaching us that. Huh? We don't have enough for everybody, and there are some different pins in the social time, but that's very nice of you to volunteer to do that. We just didn't have enough. So we're sharing what we have. Yeah.
All right, today in our religious education classes, we're going to be learning some more about creativity, including how we can use our brains to work things out. We're going to be trying to solve some puzzles and build some new things and all kinds of creative ways of thinking about how the world works. And I would like to invite Nora and Cece to be the chalice lighters today, please. Too much in your hands? All right. Audrey, would you like to?
If you want to go to your class, fine.
Audrey's very excited to go to.
Audrey and thank you. Keep helping me practice. Thank you.
one. Well, you get the new one.
Yes.
That thing here, my thing. I'm sorry, my hands are full.
All right.
Keepers of the faith.
Friends, today is Volunteer Recognition Sunday, and each of us are so blessed to be part of a community where we give so much to each other. And in that spirit of gratitude, I invite us to share responsive reading 728. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit.
Blessed are those who take seriously, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto.
Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along to join in fellowship, service, and growth.
Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular sustain and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than they.
Blessed are those who know that the church, if often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders.
Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human meeting, who do the work of committees and stay till the end.
Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and receive criticism, who keep alive their sense of humor.
Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is the transformation of society, who have a vision of beloved community transcending the present, and do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change. Blessed are they indeed.
That was just perfect for today, Terry. So today is Generosity Sunday. This is one of our favorite things that we do is share with organizations that help the community. And over the years, our congregation has recognized the important role that Camp Kumbaya has played in the community. Even going back in time, so anyone who attended the play either last year or this year, Buried Deep, learned again about that play. We went this weekend to see it and saw several faces from this community there also, and that was exploring the history of the desegregation of pools in Lynchburg and how the city decided, rather than let the pools be open to everyone, close them so that no one could enjoy them. And Camp Kumbaya was a part of that play. Ev Cosby was a part of that play. He was a character in there, and it talked about how he said, this isn't right, and our community can do something to fix it. So the decision of Camp Kumbaya to open the pool to all the children of the city was a really important one and very meaningful to people. So Camp Kumbaya continues to provide that safe place. It's a place where many children from this congregation have gone to enjoy a week or two over summer, year after year. It's been important in their lives as a place to explore. But not only that, Camp Kumbaya makes sure that regardless of ability to pay, all families can have their child participate. And that's something that we will be supporting today if we contribute to Generosity Sunday. So Amy, if you want to come tell us a few quick words.
Good morning, everyone. You have the best voice. I love being here. I send you greetings from Camp Kumbaya, and we have a little addition to our name. We're now Camp Kumbaya Nature Center. So really excited about that. We have made a lot of good progress, I think, in the last couple of years. Thanks to your contributions and the community support, back in 2021, we were able to finally buy the property and then put 42 of those 47 acres in a conservation easement. So just as it started back in the 50s, it's still the same. We want to preserve that heritage, and camp is about inclusivity, just like the wonderful story with the pools. We continue to have that spirit of everyone is welcome. And recently, if you haven't been out, as of last week, camp has changed a lot. We are currently digging up the parking lot so that we can remember progress. I have to keep saying myself, progress. But we are doing this so that we can have access, easier access back for the community. So the parking lot is coming out and being replaced by a new parking lot with a pollinator garden in the center where you park up against it, and then a bus loop on the outside. So that will allow for all in the community to have easier access, because when we have our school field trips and the parents come and buses are there, it gets to be kind of a lot. So we are moving and growing, thanks to your support. One project that is going on right now is Sweet Tom Gertie has worked on the cottage. So that cottage in the back parking lot we acquired when we bought the property, it was actually used as a retreat center. And now it is our welcome center. And even more special, we found out that built in the 1920s, it was actually, we think, the servants' headquarters of the big church house. And so now it's our welcome center, as it should be. And so we have renovated this cute cottage, and Tom is currently building a sunroom on the back porch so that we can have more come and visit. And I've already had a couple church groups say, I want to rent it. It's kind of like a tree house. Like, it is all windows. It's 25 by 30, and it just looks over the woods. And I want you to come out and see it. We are getting ready for camp. Actually, we've had ropes training today and yesterday for our staff. We have a full camp. We sold out about 4 weeks ago. We opened registration this year in January, and there's quite a buzz, which we're happy about. And then another blessing was that we were one of the stops on the Garden Day tour. And that was just such a gift, because so many people don't know we're back there. Even they've lived here all their years, and we're like, we've heard of it, but we've never been back there. So we had almost 400 visitors that day, and that just brings in the community. We also have a 1.25 mile Cosby Trail, so a lot of people come out, walk their dogs, and so we just want this to be your space and you to come out. It is open dawn to dusk. If you'd like to fish, our pond is stocked, and it's catch and release, so we have a lot of community members come and do that. So, I say a lot that we want you to find your place in the woods. We've got a lot of projects that are, buildings that we're kind of adding some love to is what I like to say, because they just we haven't been able to afford to really do a whole lot of maintenance. And so we're so thankful to kind of bring it back. We have a new sensory garden that just opened up. It is right off the parking lot. It's got a pergola and native plants and a new entrance to Kinderwood, so it's a little bit easier access to that. So, you know, we're growing, we're getting ready, we're preparing for the future, but our roots will always be summer day camp. We are year-round. We're also doing a lot of environmental school programs, so some of your kids may have come and caught crawdads in our creek and did a lot of studies like that. So, you know, we want, as we build, I'm also thinking about the youth house will eventually become the Roselle and Elliott Schul education building. It will have a nature lab, and then it will have a catering kitchen underneath. And that building, it'll have burning stations on the back. And so one thing that we've got to think about is our bathrooms. And I want to make sure we have single stall bathrooms downstairs so that everyone feels comfortable, and we don't have just the blue and the pink bathroom, that we want everyone to have a space and feel comfortable there. So we are getting ready to welcome, let's see, we have 80 campers a week for 8 weeks. So the woods will be buzzing soon with children. And you know, one thing that we're teaching them during camp is those basic values, moral values. And we're excited to do that. One last thing I'll mention is, you know, we are about recycling and reusing. And our opportunity, as my dad always tells me, has been all these ash trees that have the ash borer, and the ash borer is killing the ash trees. And so I've just been worried about safety. And so luckily we have them all down. And a couple years ago, we milled 8 of the worst ones and used it for the cottage front porch. So that wood on the front porch is from the ash tree. And most recently, we took 8 trees down, and I told Tom, I said, Tom, I've got an idea. And he said, oh goodness. And I said, what about for that back porch of the sunroom in the cottage? Let's make it ash hardwood floors. And so the community has really come together. And I mean, Jamerson Lewis provided a truck to get it to the kiln. The Slacks milled the wood at their property in Amherst. And it's being dry kilned right now. And then it'll go to Big Island to get tongue and groove. And then the back porch will have that, those ash floors. So, you know, that's an important message about, you know, if you have to cut down a tree, let it still tell its story. And that's kind of what we're about. So I thank you for the gifts that you've made over many years. It sends children to camp, and it also sends kids year-round to camp. Some of those funds go to schools as they bring children in. So thank you for inviting me, and I hope to see you out there soon.
Thank you,
Okay.
Amy. Thank you. Each week we take an offering of our gifts for the work of our community, which includes the support we give to Camp Kumbaya, what we give to NPR and other organizations. So if you would like to have a check to Camp Kumbaya, you can make it out to our congregation, and then in the memo line, put Camp Kumbaya. So for gifts that are generously given, we also say thank you, and they are gratefully received. great to have Johnny Tree back in person? Yeah, it's wonderful. It is the tradition of our community to share in our midst the joys and the concerns of this service.
Recording in progress.
I've been waiting for this service for months. This has been such a great year, and it's time for us to express gratitude for all the ways we support each other in this community. We can never say thank you often enough. Yet this morning, I want to balance our gratitude with the stark reality of what our Surgeon General said this week, that loneliness is an epidemic in the United States. We know that COVID magnified the isolation that sometimes most of us feel at one time or another. And certainly during the pandemic, a lot of communities fell apart. How fortunate we are to have found a meaningful community in which to learn and grow. This reinforces the importance of taking time today to express our gratitude for all the people who help build and sustain our congregation. So this week, Joan and I talked about, as we were like brainstorming the committee, who does it take? How many people does it take to create a Sunday service? It's a good place for us to begin our expressions of gratitude. Our services start with the Sunday Services Committee. You can, if I mention something you're involved in or you do, please raise your hand. Starts with the Sunday Services Committee, who were planning months ago. Raise your hand. Yeah, okay. So raise your hand if you have organized a service, participated in a service, created music for a service, greeted in person or on Zoom, helped with tech, done tech in Drysdale. Rosemary, you can raise your hand in the Drysdale. Created aesthetics in the chancel area, Rihanna. Created the colorful alcohol fuel for the chalice. Taken up the offering, led the time for all ages, put out the parking signs. Taught our young people, gathered and tracked visitor information, brought snacks for social time, helped organize people who have lunch after the service, participated in the discussion group, set up the fair trade kiosk, sung joyfully during hymns. Joan suggested if we didn't sing This Little Light of Mine loud enough, we should do it again at the end, right? But I said, no, they'll sing that one joyfully. Offered ideas for sermon topics and, very importantly, helped not only set up, but clean up. Participated in services. So I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. So raise your hand if something you do or did, yay. We're grateful for each one of, I see you back there, Miles. We're grateful to each one of you. All this participation helps us create Sunday morning experiences that are meaningful. And these are just the volunteers for Sunday morning. Who's participated in this year on a task force or committee, including facilitators and note takers? Yep, I know who you are. Now, how many of you help with more than one committee, task force, or other things going on? Yeah, there are a lot of you back there. Today, we're especially grateful for our board leadership who are rotating off the board. Steph Nikovich, our president, you're counting the hours, aren't you? Okay. David Wilson, who has been secretary on the board for more years than I've been here, but he's busy doing something else right now.
Nope, I'm here.
Oh, good. No, I meant you're busy doing Zoom on,
Well, yeah.
yeah, another task. And Hannah Simons, who's been a wise voice on the board, we're grateful for the service each of y'all have given and to those on the board who continue to serve. I'm always in awe of our grounds. The flowers are amazing. I know everybody agrees with that. So raise your hands if sometime in the last year you helped with the grounds. Yay. And while we're thinking about the grounds, who helped with work days? Matt Canning, you raise your hand because you always like are digging with all the weeds and you have like cuckleburs on your clothing sometimes when I see you working. Who rebuilt the U-House bookcases? Who climbed out the windows to see if they could fix things on the roof? Yeah. Yep. Jim, I know you were up there. Yep. So who stood on really high ladders that took my breath away? Raise your hands, you risk takers. And you know, there's some jobs that I didn't even know existed until I got here. I had never heard of watering the piano. Who are the piano waterers? Okay, now see Bob, see Trudy. Talk to them during social hour about the watering of the pianos. Another really behind the scenes job for which we are all grateful, even though we didn't know we should be grateful, is who has their phones programmed to be alerted night or day if the boiler shuts down, so it needs to be restarted. Yep. I'm looking at the two of you. Thank goodness for heat on frigid Sunday mornings. How about leaders and participants in different interest groups, from the discussion group to adult classes to our Soul Matters groups to young adults, and now the Gen XY? Show your hands if you've helped or participated. Yay. What about the folks who help us stay on track by volunteering with our financial tasks? Where's Finis this morning? Including all of us who pledge, help with projects, and those who give on Generosity Sundays to support Camp Kumbaya and other organizations, as well as those who work on, contribute to, and will purchase, and there's still time for more projects, on our auction, which is on June 3rd. That's what I was thinking about. How about the idea sharers, the organizers, and the brainstormers? You help us envision new possibilities for the future. This includes everyone who filled out surveys and offered generous comments to our leadership. Especially important this year were all those people from the idea stages on who helped with tech issues. Please raise your hands so we can, help appropriately. Thank you. How about those folks who are improving our social media and website experience? Yay. What about those who help connect us, who phone, offer meals, rides, who send cards and emails, including all those who participate in our community groups? Caring for one another is important. And Joanne, who's not feeling so good today and is at urgent care, is one of our key people. Especially important, and I talked to the kids about this, is who's taking our ethics into the streets? Who tries to be intentional about living our values and our love in the larger community? Who attended community events, protests, worked on projects, attended that play? Who shares compassion and care wherever we go? And I trust every single person here would raise their hands. We have so much gratitude to share with each other. And why do we do this? Why do we share all this time and energy? Because we believe in each other, this congregation, and in Unitarian Universalism. We need to take time to express our gratitude because of the many things we do for each other. And so many of them are behind the scenes on Zoom or in the kitchen or the office. I'm sure there are tasks that I haven't mentioned today, but are also important to our community. What a gift to each of us. All our volunteer tasks are, as I talk to the kids about, sharing our heart light with one another. So I hope when we're in the social time, we can say thank you to each other. And everybody gets a pen, maybe not with a flashlight, and there's a story around the pens, so I can tell that to you later. If you're visiting today, we are grateful for you, because with the exception of a very few of us, we were almost all like you, sitting in a first or a second Sunday, trying to figure out if the people there would welcome us, and hoping that the congregation we found would be a place where we would be able to explore our spiritual questions without judgment. We're glad you're here to bring new questions and ideas that can help us all grow. I think by now, every single person's hand has gone up. Each one of us is needed and appreciated. Each one of us is essential to our community, and every one of us creates this community. So just take just a couple of seconds and just look around at these people and just hold in your heart the gratitude for every one of these wonderful, if sometimes quirky, creative people. And there's a wonderful little reading that speaks to how we create community together. And it was written by Marcus Hartleaf when he was a ministerial intern. It's called The Grout. The Unitarian Universalist congregation where I served as an intern made a mosaic tree of life the summer before I arrived. Congregants of all ages came together to craft the tree's leaves using bits and pieces of broken ceramics, jewelry, glass, and stone. There are many precious personal items in the tree, including fragments from the Berlin Wall, a father's watch face, pieces of great-grandmother's china, and a key to the front door of a beloved home. Like the members of the community that brought them together, each part is imbued with memories and meaning. Each fragment holds a piece of truth. Unitarian Universalists are mosaic makers. We are a people who bring together the broken pieces of our histories and the shining pieces of our seeking, and piece by piece, we create a mosaic religion. Our tree of life is found in the stories of our living tradition. The bead from a transformational moment of worship at a youth conference, the bit of paper stamped with a blazing emblem of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee that saved lives during World War II, the button or patch on the backpack that proudly proclaims the first justice issue that lit our souls. But our mosaic making tells another story too, one that's often difficult to see, one that is beautiful in the purpose of religious community, one that lies not in the beautiful and broken pieces, but in the grout. The chalky, gritty stuff that's squeezed between the cracks of tiles. In a mosaic, The grout holds the image together, unifying disparate pieces into a whole. The grout of a community takes years to lay and settle. Grout happens in board meetings and committee meetings and endless emails and slow-moving institutions. It's in weekly potlucks shared by neighbors, a ride to church, and coffee in the social hall. While the folks who showed up for a service only on Christmas and Easter will hopefully enjoy the mosaic they find, they may never know the power of the grout that holds us through all the seasons of our lives. We help to make the grout when we learn each other's names, which was why I focused so hard on Audriana's name. And when we reach out across generational divides, we help make the grout when we show up on Sunday morning without having checked first to see if we're interested in the sermon topic. When a newborn arrives to be blessed by the community, it is the grout that enables us to welcome them. And it's the grout that we rest. It is in the grout that we rest when we gather to grieve and memorialize a beloved one who has died. So hold us, O grout. Gather us in through time and space and make all our broken pieces whole in community. In our multiplicity, make us one. From each of our jagged edges, give us the shape of a communal beauty. To honor the grout in our community, Brandon and Teresa very kindly will teach us now a little song that I heard 6 years ago and have wanted someone to teach us. So join in on round three. Okay, thank y'all.
So I'm going to sing it through one time. Teresa's going to join me on the second. And if you'll sing us 3, 4, and 5th time, we're going to sing it all together. Put your heart and soul into it. I honor your heart. Your heart is safe with me. Here in this sacred circle, here where our hearts are free. I will honor your heart. Your heart is safe with me. Here in this sacred circle, here where our hearts are free. I will honor your heart. Your heart is safe with me. Here in this sacred circle, here where our hearts are free. I will honor your heart. Your heart is safe with me. Here in this sacred circle, here where our hearts are free. I will honor your heart. Your heart is safe with me. Here in this sacred circle, here where our hearts are free.
Thank y'all for learning that today. Time. Can you open to reading 733, please? And I'm making an executive decision since we have the congregational meeting, that this is going to be our last reading, and we will save our closing hymn for another Sunday. Out of wood and stone, out of dreams and sacrifice, the people build a home. Out of the work of their hands and hearts and minds, the people fashion a symbol and a reality. May this house be truly a place of beauty, meeting one another in warmth and joy and openness, meeting one another in courage and love and trust. May all who enter here trust one another so surely that they dare to share the deep fires that burst into anger as much as the sweet spring waters that swell into laughter, the slow erosion of the wounded tears as much as the soaring song. May these walls of no silence, as 100 hearts search inward, each for its own small spark of hope, that might otherwise be snuffed out in the noise. May these rafters hear the voice of the child as surely as that of the orator, and the sound of the lute, the swish of the broom, and know that all are as holy as the shout of 1,000,000 stars. May the rain fall lightly on this house, the sun shine warmly, the winds blow softly, and bless it as a place of joy and peace. Every time we gather in community, may there be a spirit of hope, community, and love that is present among us. And I invite Joan to do the extinguishing of our chalice. You want to say the words?
Right. So as we extinguish our chalice, join me in saying these words. Extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I think I'm trying not to burn down the building. As we leave this place, let us remember the symbol of our faith, our chalice, which binds us as one people, a reminder that our strength is in our shared hope for the world, and that our common work is the creation of the beloved community among ourselves and in the world. Thank you. Okay, we'll have a 15